Better 3 hours too soon than a minute late. These lines were written by Shakespeare. And we also know it. If we can manage time, we will manage to shine. So here I am on time. Hello, friends. How are you? This is Heena from Team TES, and I have another set of 20 question answers to help you with the examination of MP Set. Not just MP Set, set across India, the NET exam. These questions will be helpful to you everywhere. So let's begin with question number 1 on your screen. Here it is. Match the dramatists with their works. The dramatists are A. John Dryden, B. Oliver Goldsmith, C. Henry Fielding, and D. Joseph Addison. There are works written against them. Can you tell me who has written which work? It's easy. Correct, Goldsmith. His work is the most famous. Okay, the answer is option C. So John Dryden wrote The Indian Emperor, which is a heroic drama of the Restoration period. Oliver Goldsmith, of course, The Vicar of Wakefield, the novel, which was titled A Tale Supposed to be Written by Himself. Next, Henry Fielding wrote Rape Upon Rape, or The Coffee House Politician. Well, here the word rape is used as an allegory to describe corruption of power. And last, Joseph Addison, he composed the poem called as The Campaign. And we are done. Question number 2. Which character of Henrik Ibsen speaks the following lines? The life of a normally constituted idea is generally about 17 to 18 years, at the most 20. Who said these lines? Option A, Nora in A Doll's House. B, Dr. Thomas Stockman in An Enemy of the People. C, Oswald in Ghosts. Or D, John Rosmer in Rosmersholm. Well, the answer is option B. Well, a little bit about Ibsen. You know it. He was a Norwegian playwright and a theater director. His works, his plays were very contemporary and they are realist even till today. Maybe that is why he's called as the father of realism, you know. He brought the fidelity of the reality into drama. He brought the truth of the real life into the performances. Okay. His lifespan was from 1828 to 1906. Now, a little bit about this play, An Enemy of the People. It was in 1882 that the play was premiered, and it talks about the main character called as Dr. Thomas, who is from medicine, and he has been told to inspect the public bath in a city of Norway. Now, he finds this bath to be contaminated. So he wants the people to stop using it. He wants the mayor of that city to clean it. The mayor is his brother. But then, wait, what happens? The people become his enemy. Yes, they say, we will not stop using the bath. We will not stop it because it is the major source of prosperity for our town. Well, don't you think it happens sometimes with us also? You are correct, but then the people are not with you. Oh, what should we do then? Confidence in ourselves, right? Okay, that is An Enemy of the People by Henrik Ibsen for you. This takes us to question number 3. Look here. He is Ibsen, an enemy of the people. Third, William Congreve wrote Incognita, a work of fiction which is dubbed a novel on the title page. What is its subtitle? Tell me, what is the subtitle? A, or Love and Duty Reconciled, B, Beauty in Distress, C, Virtue Rewarded, or D, Love in Excess? Well, it is option A. I have written the full title here. Incognita, or Love and Duty Reconciled, a novel. Well, it is actually a novel of intrigue and love by the master of Restoration comedy, who was Congreve. Now, it is set in Florence, and the women in this work, they wear masks at the ball. So even when this question comes, you know, in which piece of work do you find masks, women wearing masks? It is this, Incognita. Okay, let's move on to question number 4. In Inferno, Dante, while traveling through the circles of hell, finds Judas, who is unable to speak. What is the reason behind this? Come on, tell me the reason. Option A, his tongue is pulled out and nailed on the tree of sin. B, his head is battered so he cannot open his mouth. C, Lucifer is chewing on his head. Or D, his tongue is transformed into a coiled snake. Do you know the answer? Yes, you do. It is option C. Lucifer is chewing on his head. Well, Inferno, as you know, is the first part of the 14th century epic poem, Divine Comedy. See the cover, the Divine Comedy. The parts of it are Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Now, in Inferno, as you know, when Dante was journeying through the 9 circles of hell, in one of the circles, Judeca, he sees all the sinners, they are encased in ice and they are lying in very strange positions, okay? From these sinners is Judas, who had betrayed Christ, right? And he is the one who is suffering the most. We are done here with question number 4. Question number 5. Who among the following are categorized as the Scottish Chaucerians? 1. Thomas Occleve, 2. Robert Henryson, 3. John Lydgate, 4. William Dunbar. Who of them are Scottish Chaucerians or the Macar's poets? Do you know the answer? Yes, you do. It is option D, 2 and 4, Robert Henryson and William Dunbar. Now, why were they called Scottish Chaucerians? Because they actually employed Chaucer's verse forms and themes in their works. But that does not make them completely copycats. They were definitely original in their themes also. Okay, आगे बढ़े. Question number 6. In Fanny Burney's novel Evelina, eponymous heroine comes out in society in 2 locations. They are 1 Bath, 2 Bristol, 3 Leeds, or 4 London. Which 2 locations does Evelina come out? Well, the answer is option D, 2 and 4, Bristol and London. Well, you know about Burney, right? He was an she was an English satirical novelist, okay? And Evelina was published in the year 1778. It is a 3-volume work, okay, and told through a series of letters by characters, which makes it an epistolary novel, right? Let's move on to question number 7. Match the following 18th century non-fiction writers with their works. Listen to the writers' names. 1. Edmund Burke, 2. Edward Gibbon, 3. Mary Wollstonecraft, and 4. Thomas Paine. And look at the works written against them. Can you tell me who has written which work? I'll make it very easy for you. The answer is option A. And how have I made it easy for you? With the book covers. Here they are. Well, as you can see, Reflections on the Revolution in France was written by Edmund Burke. The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire was written by Edward Gibbon. Thoughts on the Education of Daughters with Reflections on Female Conduct in the More Important Duties of Life of 1787 was written by Mary Wollstonecraft. And last, Rights of Man, Answer to Mr. Burke's Attack on the French Revolution was written by Thomas Paine. हो गया? Easy, right? देखने में एकदम सब अच्छा समझ में आता है, right? Pictures help. Let's move on. Question number 8. F.R. Leavis and L.C. Knights launched a critical journal devoted to the moral centrality of English studies. Name the journal. A. The Edinburgh Review. B. The English Historical Review. C. Scrutiny. Or D. The Criterion. You know it. It is option C, Scrutiny, a quarterly review. Well, its first issue came out in the year 1932 and the last issue came in 1953. Question number 9. Who coined the term dissociation of sensibility? Easy, easy, easy. It is option A, T.S. Eliot. Well, Eliot coined this term in his essay, The Metaphysical Poets. He tells us that in 17th century poetry, intellect was separated from feeling, or sensibility was separated from emotions, okay? Now, for example, Tennyson and Browning, T.S. Eliot said, were not great poets. Imagine, Eliot is saying they're not great poets. Why? Because according to him, they could not connect their great ideas with their feelings. तो मतलब Eliot क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं? यहाँ से सोचो, यहाँ से नहीं, यहाँ से सोचो. Is that what it is? Yes, that is what it is. Question number 10. Spondaic foot contains 2 A. Stressed syllables, B. Unstressed syllables, C. Stressed or unstressed syllables, and D. Different syllables. Spondy. Of course, it is option A, 2 stressed syllables, okay, or 2 long syllables. The easiest example is love song. Okay, love song. Both syllables are stressed. Football. Both syllables are stressed. Now, Shakespeare wrote cry, cry, Troy burns. These are 2 meters of spondy. Okay, let's move on. Question number 11. The Bhasmasura myth is used in R.K. Narayan's. Option A, the world of Nagaraj. B, the English teacher. C, the financial expert. Or D, the man-eater of Malgudi. The Bhasmasura myth. It was used in option D, the man-eater of Malgudi. Now, first about R.K. Narayan, the most prolific writer of our country, my personal favorite, who has given us that imaginary South Indian town of Malgudi, जो मेरे लिए तो कभी imaginary नहीं रहा. It is as good as real, right? And look at this cover, The Man-Eater of Malgudi. Wow, it is so cool. This is the first US edition of the book. This book was published in the year 1961. And here Narayan uses the historical reference of Bhasmasura. अब ये Bhasmasura कौन थे? He was a demon who could burn anyone, burn them into ashes by just touching their heads with his hand. Okay, but in the end, what happens? He's tricked by Lord Vishnu's female avatar called as Mohini. Okay, so he touches himself and he turns into ashes, as you can see in the picture here. Awesome, na? I love mythology. Great stories. Question number 12. The label diasporic writer can be applied to. Your options are A. Meena Alexander, B. Arundhati Roy, C. Kiran Desai, or D. Shashi Deshpande. Who of them are diasporic writers? Well, उससे पहले आपको समझना पड़ेगा ना diasporic writers होते कौन हैं? You know them, right? They live away from their native land. Their works are full of nostalgia for their motherland. And they also talk about identity crisis. क्योंकि identity क्या है? Which country, which region do they belong to? कौन है इनमें से? आंसर बताइए. It is option 4, A and C. Meena Alexander, you know it, born in India but went to America. The same goes with Kiran Desai, also American nationality, Indian American. But Arundhati Roy lives in Meghalaya, while Shashi Deshpande, she is from Karnataka. Done? आगे बढ़े. Question number 13. Arrange the following works by Louis Althusser in chronological order. Read the works, I'll tell you in the answer. Well, can you tell me the correct answer? It is option B. I have written it very easy. Let's move on. Option B mein. First is Politics and History, Montesquieu, Rousseau, Marx, 1972 publication in English. Then comes Essay in Self-Criticism, published 1976. Then the posthumous works of his, The Humanist Controversy and Other Writings of 2003. And last is How to Be a Marxist in Philosophy, published 2017. Louis Althusser, you all know, was a French structuralist Marxist philosopher, and he lived from 1918 to 1990. Done? Let's move on. Here is Mr. Althusser. How nicely and how confidently he looks at us. Yes? Let's move on. Question number 14. Be Homer's works your study and delight. Read them by day and meditate by night. Who gave this advice to the poets? Your options are A. Ben Jonson, B. Pope, C. Dryden, or D. Sidney. Come on, the one who praised the classics. He is option B, Pope. Well, these lines are taken from Pope's major poem called as Essay on Criticism, in which he says that imitation of the ancients like Virgil, Homer, Aristotle, Horace, Longinus is the ultimate standard for poetry. मतलब क्या कहना चाहते हैं poet? बड़ों के आशीर्वाद के बिना आपका कुछ नहीं हो सकता बच्चा. Let's move on. Question number 15. Portrait of a Genius, but was written by Richard Aldington in 1950. It is the biography of A. Virginia Woolf, B. T.S. Eliot, C. Lawrence of Arabia, or D. D.H. Lawrence. That's easy. Aldington and him, they were very good friends. It is option D, D.H. Lawrence. Look at the cover. Portrait of a Genius, but The Life of D.H. Lawrence from 1885 to 1930. Well, Richard Aldington, was an English writer and poet who lived from 1892 to 1962. As I told you, he and Lawrence were good friends, and he wrote this biography, which was actually a chronological report of Lawrence's life. And there was a time when Lawrence said, कि Aldington is like my grandmother, talking so deeply, knowing so much about me. ये तुम एकदम मेरी दादी जैसी है. Okay, दादू बोलना था ना, दादी कैसे? चलो, दादी knows the secrets more. Is it like that? आगे बढ़ते हैं. Question number 16. Edward Said's Orientalism of 1978 led to the creation of option A, post-colonialism, B, post-structuralism, C, post-modernism, or D, post-Freudianism. Come on, Said, he is the founder of the academic field of post-colonial studies. So the answer will be option A, post-colonialism. Look at that cover. What does this book say? You know it. It's a negative one in which the West is actually having negative views about the East or the Orient. They consider us as uncivilized, lazy barbarians. And they spread this propaganda through various mediums, even through academics, media, travel, everywhere. What view is that? This was what was told by Said in his very awesome book, Orientalism. Yes, let's move on. Question number 17. Archetypal criticism. Listen to the options carefully. Options are long, but the answer is super easy. Archetypal criticism, A, focuses on a reader active engagement with the text. B, deals with the similarities of patterns in the literature of widely diverse cultures. C, focuses on relationships between genders. Or D, examines how different ethnic groups affect the creation and interpretation of a text. Well, archetype, is pattern. So answer kya hona chahiye? B. It deals with the similarities of patterns in the literature of widely diverse cultures. I'll tell you a little bit about archetype. They mean similar patterns. They mean myth or schemes or behavior, right, from history or from past. So if you connect archetype with archetypal criticism, it will mean interpreting a text by focusing on these archetypes. Right? Now, important works of archetypal criticism are, you must know, Maud Bodkin's Archetypal Patterns in Poetry of 1934, James Fraser's The Golden Bow, Northrop Frye's Anatomy of Criticism, and more works, but these are really important. Good enough? Aage badhe. Question number 18. Robert Sherwood in Idiot's Delight presents A plea for world peace, B, a call for war, C, a dance of idiots, or D, none of the above. What is Idiot's Delight all about? It is a play, and it is option A, a plea for world peace. Look at that cover. Well, Sherwood was an American playwright. He lived from 1896 to 1955. And in this play, the setting of the play is a hotel on the Italian Alp. And it talks about the 24 hours at the beginning of the World War. And it is a plea for world peace. This play was so influential, it won the Pulitzer Prize in the year 1936. Let's move on. Question number 19. Biographies and essays are instances of A, fictional prose, B, non-fictional prose, C, poetry, or D, none of the above. The answer is non-fictional prose, option B. Well, what is a non-fictional prose? It is a literary work which primarily is based on facts, although there may be instances of fiction here and there, but primarily it is fact. Easiest example is biography and essays. और इसके साथ हम चलते हैं last question of the day. Read carefully. A research paper is a brief report of research work which is based on A, primary data, B, secondary data, B, primary and secondary data, both, or D, none of the above. You know it. Research work contains both primary and secondary data. So the answer is option C. It is option C. I'm sorry, it's written B here. It is option C. Now, primary data, is the first-hand data which is collected by the researcher. Easiest example is survey, experiment, etc. while the secondary data is the past data, which was collected by somebody else, but is now used by the researcher. Easiest example can be books, records, websites, right? So a research work uses both these data. And we are done. Well, if you liked my session, do comment below. If you want an online course with Kalyani ma'am for your set preparation, you can contact us on the number 93878-39871. I am going to come back soon with another 20 question answers and we'll be together. Bye.